Wishing you all a very special holiday season and a Merry Christmas. Today I want to present a very special story of significance. Christmas at Longfellow House, as it appeared in the Oakland Tribune on Friday, December 25th, 1970, written by my grandfather, Albert Charles Harlander. The story recalls a memorable Christmas Eve my grandfather spent with Alice Longfellow, daughter of the great poet, many years ago. Christmas of 1918 was only a few days away. World War I had just come to a close the previous month on November 11, and we were still on duty at the Naval Air Station on Cape Cod. As most of us lived too far away to go home for Christmas, we were reconciled to spending the holiday in Boston, where canteens with attractive hostesses were still being operated for the servicemen. Our spirits were brightened, however, when invitations started to come in. The kind people in the Boston area, realizing the plight of the lonely men who couldn't go home, issued invitations to spend Christmas with them in their homes. Several such invitations were received at our headquarters. We were able to make a choice. One that was prized above all others was from Miss Alice Longfellow, daughter of the famous poet. Her invitation was for 6 aviators to be her guests at the Longfellow Mansion in Cambridge on Christmas Eve. All of us wanted to go, of course, but as she had invited only 6, we drew numbers from a hat to determine who would go, and I was one of the lucky 6. Cambridge that Christmas Eve was a typical Christmas card scene. Drifts of snow, frost on the windows, holly wreaths bedecked with red ribbons on the doors, horse-drawn sleighs with tinkling bells, everything that spells a white Christmas. We arrived at the mansion at 7 o'clock Christmas Eve, and were greeted at the door by Miss Longfellow personally. She was a charming, elderly lady with silvery white hair, a small knitted shawl around her shoulders, and she used a cane. After removing our coats and overshoes, we were ushered into a spacious living room. We were introduced to 6 lovely ladies, whom she had invited to assist in entertaining us. At one end of the room was a large fireplace with a crackling log fire. The room was beautifully decorated for the occasion, including sprigs of mistletoe suspended from the doorways and chandeliers. As was the custom in New England, no electric lights were used in the homes at Christmas. Only candles. Bright-colored candles burned everywhere, on the window sills, over the fireplace, and on the Christmas tree. The delightful aromas from the burning logs and the pine needles scorched by the Christmas tree candles added to the festive atmosphere. After a buffet supper, Miss Longfellow had all of us seated on pillows on the floor in front of the fireplace, while she settled into her comfortable rocking chair. After a few parlor games, she asked us if we would like to have her tell some stories and recite some poems. We had hoped that she would. First, she gave us a brief history of the old mansion, which was built in 1759 by a Tory named John Vassall. General George Washington and his wife Martha lived in it, while he made it his military headquarters in 1776. In 1835, when Longfellow assumed the professorial chair at Harvard, he and his second wife, Frances Appleton, moved into the mansion as boarders. The new owner, Mrs. Craigie, then recently widowed, had opened her home to a few select boarders. Longfellow's father-in-law, Nathan Appleton, later bought the place for his daughter's home. She then related stories about her famous father and recited several of his poems, including The Village Blacksmith. She told of his love for children, and when the old chestnut tree died, the school children of Cambridge took up a collection, had the tree taken down, and made into a chair which they presented to the poet. Twice during her storytelling, Miss Longfellow was interrupted by carolers who came to sing for her. Each time she invited them in for a few minutes to get warm, then gave each of them an apple, an orange, and a small bag of candy. After entertaining us, she conducted us on a tour of the mansion. Of most interest to all of us, of course, was the southeast room, which was the poet's study. It remained just as he left it when he died in 1882. Crayon portraits of Emerson, Hawthorne, and other friends adorned the walls. His writing table contained 2 inkstands, a pen, pencils, a reading glass, a pair of scissors, and some manuscripts. On other tables were busts, historic relics, and mementos. Sitting in a corner was the old chair made from the spreading chestnut tree. It was larger and more sturdy than I had anticipated. Miss Longfellow invited each of us to sit in it, which of course we did, reverently. She then asked us to sign the historic guest book, which contained the names of famous people from all over the world and dating back many, many years. We departed about 10 o'clock, and after expressing our appreciation for kind invitation and warm hospitality, she outdid us in graciousness by thanking us for accepting her invitation and making it a memorable Christmas for her.